Before we dive into this unforgettable love story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories about love, redemption, and second chances. Chris was born into a world that didn't look anything like what a child deserved. A small, peeling apartment, a mother with soft eyes and trembling hands, and a father who came home every night smelling like alcohol and anger. Chris remembered hiding behind the worn sofa, listening to the shouting. He remembered the way his father's voice shook the house, the way his mother begged him to stop, the way every night felt like an unpredictable storm. But what stayed with him the most was not the shouting. It was the silence afterward. The quiet crying of his mother, alone at the kitchen table with a bruise she didn't want him to see. She always smiled at him anyway. "Chris, you're my brave boy," she'd say, touching his cheek even when her hands shook. "You're going to be better than all of this. You're going to be a doctor. You're going to save lives." Chris believed her. He held on to those words like a lifeline. But the years were unkind. His father's drinking escalated. His mother's health weakened under the weight of fear, stress, and physical abuse. Chris grew up fast. Too fast. He became the man of the house long before he was a man at all. He kept his grades perfect, worked part-time jobs to pay for her medicine, and protected her with everything in him. There was no childhood. Only survival. By the time he finished high school, his dream of becoming a doctor felt like a cruel joke. Tuition was impossibly high. His mother's health required money he didn't have. Bills piled like walls around him. And then one night everything changed. Nathan, his closest friend, the one person who knew the truth about his home, pulled him aside at a diner. "You don't deserve the life you've been given," Nathan said quietly. "And I found something that can help you. But you might hate me for saying it." Chris looked up, already exhausted. "What is it?" "Escort services." The world froze. Nathan continued, choosing his words carefully. "It's high-end. Exclusive. You'll get paid more in one night than you make in 2 months. You're smart, you're kind, you take care of people. You do well. And you could pay for school, for your mom's treatment. Everything." Chris sat back stunned. He wasn't naive. He understood what the job meant. He understood the cost, the moral weight. "This isn't me," Chris whispered. Nathan nodded. "I know. But neither is being trapped forever. You deserve a chance out." And that night as Chris walked home, he felt something break inside him. His dreams battled with his reality. His mother's pain fought against his pride. He didn't choose the escort world because he wanted to. He chose it because he had no choice at all. The agency gave him a new name, a new identity, a new world. Rules were strict. No one knows your real name. Never get emotionally attached. Appearances always perfect. Secrets stay buried. Chris transformed into someone else at night. A polished, composed, flawless man who knew exactly how to listen, how to hold a conversation, how to make wealthy clients feel seen. He hated it. Every night he came home and stood in the shower too long, trying to wash off the guilt that clung to his skin. But the money saved his mother's life. It paid for her surgeries, her treatments, her healing. Paid his tuition. He entered medical school. He studied harder than anyone. He graduated with honors. And through it all, he continued the escort work in secret. He never took drugs. He never compromised who he was. He kept one rule above all: do the job, but never let the job define you. By the time he was 26, he had a luxury apartment overlooking Manhattan. A G63 AMG that gleamed under streetlights. A fully restored and healthy mother who had no idea how he paid for any of it. His father died alone of a drug overdose. It didn't hurt the way Chris expected it to. The only feeling he had was a quiet, cold emptiness. His life was stable now, empty but stable. Until the night everything changed. It was supposed to be a normal night. Another client. Another transaction. Another role to play. Chris walked into the Manhattan bar wearing a black coat, calm and collected. His client texted. Running late. Might not make it tonight. He sighed and took a seat at the counter. And that's when he saw her. A young woman sitting alone, dressed beautifully but looking like her world had just collapsed. Her eyes were red but still stunning, her posture tired, her spirit raw and exposed. Clarissa. He didn't know her name yet. But even from across the room, she seemed familiar. Not because he'd met her, but because something in her pain mirrored his. She looked like someone who had been strong for too long. Her glass of wine was nearly empty, and her phone lay on the bar, screen filled with messages from friends. He used you. We warned you. Block him. She put her head down, breathing shakily. Chris wasn't supposed to approach strangers. It was against every rule of his double life. But something inside him moved. Maybe it was the tremble in her shoulders. Maybe it was the emptiness he recognized in her eyes. Maybe it was destiny. He walked toward her. Are you okay? He asked gently. She looked up surprised. Her eyes widened slightly. He was handsome, incredibly so, but it was his softness that disarmed her. I'm fine, she lied, voice cracking. He sat down politely, keeping a respectful distance. You don't look fine, he said, smiling lightly. Not that you owe me the truth. She sighed, took another sip, and suddenly the words poured out. Maybe it was the alcohol. Maybe it was the kindness in a stranger's eyes. Maybe it was the weight of everything finally breaking. She told him about the breakups, the betrayal, the money she had lost helping someone who pretended to love her, the embarrassment, the exhaustion. She laughed bitterly between stories. Chris listened, really listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't judge. He didn't try to fix her pain. So what do your friends say? He asked softly. That I'm a lazy drinker, she muttered. He smiled. That's true. One glass and you're already confessing your entire life. She burst into drunken laughter. For the first time that night she felt safe. They danced to an old slow song that played from the bar speakers. Nothing romantic. Just two broken people sharing a moment of peace. By midnight, she was too drunk to stand steadily. And when she reached for her phone, she whispered, I forgot my driver. I came alone. Chris hesitated. Escorts don't get involved emotionally. Escorts do not rescue strangers. So he did what felt right. I'll take you home, he said gently. She nodded, half asleep. Clarissa woke up slowly, like someone surfacing from deep water. The first thing she felt was the soft weight of a blanket over her. The second was the smell of something warm, coffee. And the third was the quiet hum of an apartment too clean, too elegant, too expensive to be hers. Her eyes snapped open. A luxurious penthouse stretched out before her. Floor-to-ceiling windows bathed the room in warm morning light. Manhattan's skyline glowed beyond the glass like a painted backdrop. She sat up so fast she got dizzy. Where am I? Her last memory was the bar. The wine. The music. A gentle voice asking if she was okay. And then, Chris. She spotted him across the room in the kitchen, still dressed casually in a white t-shirt and gray joggers, stirring something in a pot. He turned when he heard her shifting. You're awake, he said softly. Clarissa instinctively pulled the blanket up to her chin, embarrassed. Did we? She blurted, cheeks flushing. Chris blinked, almost offended. No. Nothing like that, he said. You were drunk. I wasn't going to take advantage of you. Her shoulders relaxed immediately. He pointed to a glass of water on the side table. I left that for you. And painkillers. You hit the wine harder than you think. Clarissa laughed weakly. I'm usually not like that. I know, Chris replied with a calm, teasing tone. Despite her embarrassment, she felt safe. The same feeling from last night still lingered, warm and unsettling. Did I say anything crazy? She asked cautiously. Chris pretended to think. You confessed to killing 3 husbands and burying them under Central Park. He stared. He grinned. I'm joking. You talked about the breakup, the money, and that you hate slow drivers. Her face fell into her hands. Oh no. I shouldn't have talked about that. You needed to, he said simply. Sometimes strangers are easier than friends. She looked at him fully for the first time in daylight. God, he was even more beautiful than she remembered. Not just handsome, composed, quiet, self-contained. Like he carried secrets he would never reveal. Clarissa stood shakily. Thank you for bringing me home. And for, well, everything. Chris passed her a mug. Sit. Drink coffee. Then you can go. She took it, surprised at how gentle the gesture felt. You're being very kind, she whispered. I'm being decent, he corrected softly. There's a difference. She smiled, a small, real one. Still, thank you. Chris served her a simple breakfast, eggs, toast, and fruit. Clarissa looked down at the plate, confused. You cooked? She asked. I do occasionally, he replied, sitting across from her. But you don't look like someone who cooks. He raised an eyebrow. And what do people who cook look like? Less perfect. He chuckled quietly. It was a low, warm sound that made her stomach flutter. They ate in silence for a few seconds. Then Clarissa took a breath. I should apologize for dumping my whole life story on you. You don't owe me an apology, Chris said. You were hurting. But you don't even know me. He looked at her for a long moment. Not in a romantic way, but like he was studying the truth in her eyes. I know enough, he said finally. You're stronger than you think. But even strong people break sometimes. Her throat tightened. No one had ever said something like that to her so simply. She pushed her hair back nervously. Do you always say things like that to strangers? She asked. No, Chris answered. Only when they need to hear it. Silence hung between them. Not awkward, just heavy with something neither could define. After breakfast, Clarissa stood and collected her handbag. Thank you again, Chris, she said softly. For last night, and this morning. He nodded. She walked toward the door, then paused. Will I see you again? Chris froze. This was dangerous territory for him. He lived 2 separate lives, and mixing them had never ended well. He didn't want complications. He didn't want lies. He didn't want emotional entanglements. But he also didn't want her to walk out of his life. Do you want to see me again? He asked quietly. Clarissa blinked, as if the answer was obvious. Yes, she whispered. Chris swallowed. I'd like that, he said finally. She smiled, the kind of smile that reaches the eyes. Good, she whispered, almost shy. She stepped into the hallway. But before the elevator doors closed, she looked back at him. Chris. Yes. She hesitated, then said something he would never forget. You feel safe. The doors shut. Chris stood still, breathing slowly, unsure if that single sentence healed him or terrified him. Clarissa texted him an hour after leaving. I don't know why, but I feel lighter today. Thank you. Chris read it, then reread it. His chest tightened. He had spent years making other people feel wanted, heard, admired, but never genuinely. Never in a way that mattered to him. But this felt different. Felt real. He typed slowly. I'm glad you're okay. Let me know if you get home safe next time you drink alone. She responded instantly. Next time you're drinking with me. Chris stared at the message. He should have stopped there. He should have drawn a line. He should have remembered the rules. Don't get attached. Don't get personal. Don't let kindness become connection. But for the first time in years, he wanted to break a rule. Deal. Clarissa returned to her apartment feeling different. She wasn't magically healed. The breakup still hurt. The lies still stung. But last night, in the middle of her worst moment, someone unexpected helped her instead of exploiting her. And that meant something. More than she wanted to admit. She sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the contacts saved in her phone. Chris, the stranger who didn't take advantage. She laughed at the name, but she kept it. Something about him stayed with her. The gentle voice, the quiet listening, the safety she felt beside him. She didn't know who he truly was. She didn't know the secrets he carried. All she knew was that he felt like calm in a world of chaos. Chris stood by his window, staring at the city far below. He wasn't used to letting anyone in. His life was built on walls. Walls he reinforced every night with secrets and silence. But Clarissa had slipped through like sunlight through broken blinds. He didn't understand why. Maybe it was her vulnerability. Maybe it was her honesty. Maybe it was the way she looked at him like he was human, not perfect. But deep down he felt it. If he let this continue, it could ruin everything. But stopping it could ruin him in a different way. He put his phone down. He closed his eyes. And he whispered to himself, "This is a mistake." But he didn't block her. He didn't distance himself. He didn't disappear. He texted her again before he could talk himself out of it. "Are you free Friday night?" The reply came instantly. "Yes." Chris exhaled, already knowing he had stepped into something he couldn't walk away from. For a week, Clarissa tried to move on. She buried herself in work, meetings, presentations, investor calls, anything to escape the strange warmth she still felt from that night. But at random moments, she caught herself smiling, remembering his dry jokes. His gentle voice telling her everything she said after drinking. His protective presence as she woke up confused. Her best friend Jess noticed immediately. "You're glowing," Jess whispered over coffee. "Is it Chris?" Clarissa almost dropped her cup. "What?" "No. I don't even know him. I don't know his last name. It was just a stranger helping a stranger." Jess leaned forward, unconvinced. "Really? And why are you smiling at your phone like a teenager thinking of her crush?" Clarissa groaned into her hands. "Jess, I don't even have his number." Jess laughed. "Maybe you weren't supposed to." But Clarissa couldn't lie to herself. He made her feel safe. He listened, something no one had done in a long time. He didn't want her money, her company, her title. He treated her like a human being. And that was rare. Meanwhile, across the city, Chris tried to forget her too. He went to the gym, handled meetings for his upcoming health firm, met his mother for dinner, doing everything to keep his mind sharp. But every night, while cleaning the kitchen or folding clothes, he'd remember her sleepy voice. "You're kind. I can tell." He'd remember how softly she breathed when he carried her. How she trusted him instantly. How she made his home feel less cold. And something in him, something he thought he had buried, flickered back to life. For the first time in years, he wasn't satisfied with his double life. He wanted out. He wanted something real. He wanted her. And so, he found himself doing something he had never done before. He returned to the same Manhattan bar. Maybe she won't come, he told himself. But something in his chest whispered otherwise. Saturday night arrived. Chris sat at the bar, nursing a ginger ale. He never drank on escort nights, and the habit stuck. After nearly 2 hours, he sighed. "She's not coming." He gathered his coat. And then, a familiar laugh floated through the room. He froze. There she was. Clarissa walked in with Jess, wearing a simple white dress that made her look impossibly elegant. She scanned the room idly. Her eyes landed on him. She stared for half a second. Then she smiled. A slow, involuntary, heart-catching smile. Chris walked toward her, and Jess excused herself with a knowing smirk. Clarissa crossed her arms, teasing. "You again." Chris shrugged. "The bar has good lighting. Makes me look taller." She laughed, a real one. "I'm glad you're here," she admitted. He felt something warm inside him. "So am I." They sat at a quiet table. No alcohol for her tonight. Just water and him. "You disappeared," Chris said softly. "I work a lot," she replied. "And I didn't have your number." "You didn't ask." He smiled shyly, something rare for him. "I didn't think you'd want to see me again." She looked down, fingers tracing the rim of her glass. "I did." Silence settled. Comfortable, gentle. Then she asked, "So, who are you really?" Chris took a breath. He would not lie. "I'm opening a private wellness and medical firm. It's something I've been working toward for years." Her eyes brightened immediately. "That's incredible. You must be proud." "It's complicated," he replied honestly. "But I'm trying." "And your mom?" she asked softly. "The one you mentioned last week." Chris blinked, surprised she remembered. "She's healthy now. Take care of her. She's my whole world." Clarissa smiled gently. "I can tell." They talked for hours about life, their dreams, their broken pieces, their fears and their hopes. Felt natural. Felt healing. Felt right. At the end of the night, Chris walked her out. The cold Manhattan breeze wrapped around them. She stood still, staring at him. "Are you going to ask for my number this time?" she teased. He laughed nervously. "I was hoping you'd offer." She rolled her eyes and handed him her phone. When their fingers touched, something electric passed between them. "Good night, Chris." "Good night, Clarissa." He watched her walk away until she disappeared from sight. And for the first time in his adult life, his heart felt alive. 2 days later, Chris invited her out to a quiet rooftop restaurant. No loud music, no crowd, just candles, warm lighting, and a cool evening breeze. Clarissa arrived in a wrapped satin dress, looking both powerful and gentle. "You look beautiful," Chris whispered. She blushed, an unusual sight for someone usually so controlled. Dinner flowed effortlessly. Their hands touched when reaching for the same dessert spoon. She laughed. He smiled. The world around them softened. At the end of the night, instead of going separate ways, they wandered through the city, walking slowly under street lamps. Clarissa admitted something that made Chris's chest ache. "I haven't felt this safe with someone in years." He wanted to hold her hand. He wanted to tell her everything. He wanted to be the man she believed he was. But he only whispered, "I will never hurt you." After 3 weeks of dating, Chris finally invited her back to his apartment. Not drunk this time, not confused. Just two hearts wanting to be close. He cooked for her again. "Wow," she teased. "Are you secretly a chef?" "Only on days that end with Y," he replied, making her burst into laughter. After dinner they watched movies, something soft and easy, while sitting close enough for their shoulders to touch. Chris didn't try to kiss her. He didn't make a single move. He simply sat beside her, warm and steady. Clarissa felt protected. She felt wanted, not used. It was a feeling she hadn't tasted in years. Next week, she invited him to her penthouse. It was modern, elegant, breathtaking. "Wow," Chris whispered. "And here I was proud of my apartment." She laughed and nudged him. "Stop. I like your place more." He didn't believe her, until he saw her curled up on his couch a week later, wearing his hoodie, drinking tea as if she belonged there. They traveled together, short trips to relax. A weekend in Ibiza, a beach picnic in California, a spa retreat in Aspen. Shared glances, intimate kisses, holding hands. Every moment deepened their connection. Every day made the world sweeter. Chris had never been in love before. But this felt like something he could spend a lifetime protecting. But in the shadows, Trouble watched. One night, while returning from a date, someone snapped a photo of them on the street. A woman Chris once knew. Former client. A client who still wanted him. Client who did not like competition. And jealousy is a dangerous thing. She opened her phone. And she typed a message. And the storm began. Her name was Tanya. Former client. Powerful socialite. A woman used to getting whatever and whoever she wanted. Once upon a time, she adored Chris for the same reason every client did. His quiet strength. His gentle confidence. His ability to make people feel understood. But unlike others, Tanya developed feelings. Possessive ones. And when she saw Chris holding Clarissa's hand, laughing like a man who had found a new world, something inside her snapped. She zoomed in on the photo she secretly took of them. Chris looking at Clarissa the way a man looks at someone he wants forever. Clarissa smiling back, unaware of the storm forming. "That smile is mine," Tanya whispered angrily. And she pressed send. The next morning, the headline hit every top celebrity site. Billionaire heiress Clarissa Hale dating former male escort. Scandal or manipulation. CO seen with secret past lover. Inside the escort who stole $1 billion heart. The articles were vicious, cruel, designed to break reputations and ignite chaos. Chris's phone exploded with unknown numbers. Clarissa's company lines jammed with calls. Her PR team nearly fainted. Within hours, the story went viral worldwide. By noon, Clarissa's company stock had dropped 2%. The board demanded an emergency meeting. She didn't wait. She didn't text. She didn't scream. She simply sent one message. "Chris, please meet me tonight." He felt it in his stomach, the shift, the coldness, the fear beneath her calm words. He arrived early. She arrived late. Her eyes were red from stress. She sat down slowly, hands shaking slightly. "Chris," she whispered, "why didn't you tell me?" Her voice wasn't angry, just tired, deeply tired. He swallowed. "I wanted to, I swear, I just didn't know how. My past is complicated, and I didn't want." "You didn't want me to run," she finished. Chris looked down. "Yes." Clarissa closed her eyes as pain washed over her face. "Chris, I've been lied to. So many times. Used so many times." "I'm not using you," he said quickly, voice cracking. "I want to believe that," she whispered. "I really do. But this, all of this, it feels like every heartbreak all over again." Chris leaned forward. "I stopped the escort work the night I met you. I swear that's the truth. You changed something in me." She wanted to believe him. She really did. But her heart, her career, all of it was now on the line, again. "Chris," she whispered, voice fragile, "I just need time." He felt the world collapse quietly inside him. "All right," he said softly. "I will wait." She stood up slowly. He didn't touch her. She didn't touch him. She walked away with a silent kind of heartbreak that hurt more than any screaming could. That night, Clarissa sat alone in her penthouse, phone buzzing non-stop. Her investors wanted statements. Her PR team wanted distance. Her board members wanted control. "Stay away from him. End this before it destroys your career. You can't be with someone like that." She had fought hard to be taken seriously. To run a company, built from her father's legacy. To earn respect in a world that rarely gave women, especially young women, a fair chance. And now, because of love, because of hope, she was losing it all. She cried silently into her hands. Across the city, Chris stood in his apartment staring at the headline again and again. Years of secrecy. Years of shame. Years of building a new life. All destroyed in a few hours. He felt like the scared kid from his old home again. Powerless. Helpless. Trapped by a past he never wanted. His mother knocked softly on his door. "Christopher, what is happening?" He broke. He told her everything. Every truth. Every sacrifice. Every reason he stepped into the world he hated. His mother cried into his arms. "My boy, you saved me. And now this world is punishing you for it. I'm so sorry." She pulled back and wiped his tears with gentle hands. "You love her, don't you?" Chris didn't answer. He didn't have to. It was written all over him. His mother took a breath and made a decision. The next morning, Clarissa's assistant knocked on her office door. "Ma'am, someone is here to see you. She says she is Chris's mother." Clarissa froze. "Send her in." The door opened and Chris's mother walked in, dressed simply, hands folded nervously, but with a brave smile. "Hello, Clarissa," she said gently. Clarissa stood up, startled. "Ma'am, I didn't expect." "I know," the older woman said softly. "I didn't come to pressure you. And I didn't come to defend things that can't be defended." She sat carefully across from Clarissa. "You must be hurting." Clarissa nodded, tears collecting in her eyes. "He should have told me," she whispered. "I don't know if I can trust him." Chris's mother sighed, a deep, emotional sigh. "You are right. He should have told you. You deserved honesty." Clarissa lowered her head. "But, Clarissa," she continued, voice trembling, "my boy is a good man." "Good man. He did what he did because I was sick, and he carried the whole world on his back when he was just a child." Her voice cracked. "And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that my pain forced him into that life. I take responsibility for that." Clarissa looked at her, surprised by the honesty. "He never wanted that world," his mother whispered. "He wanted to be a doctor. He wanted peace. And you gave him joy I haven't seen in years." Clarissa covered her mouth, tears slipping out. Chris's mother stood, touching her hand softly. "I will never ask you to forgive him. I will never ask you to choose him. But please know he loves you. And he is hurting more than you know." She turned to leave. "We don't deserve the goodness you brought into his life. But he will always be grateful for you. Even if you never come back." After Chris's mother left, Clarissa couldn't think straight. She replayed their dates. His laugh. His gentleness. The way he treated her like she was simply human. Not a CEO, not a billionaire's daughter, not a title. For 3 days she didn't sleep properly. She missed him. Desperately. Painfully. She missed the peace he brought into her life. She missed the safety. The warmth. And she finally whispered to herself, "I have to fix this." When she walked into the boardroom, the members looked anxious. "Clarissa, this scandal is costing the company." She raised a hand. Steady. "I'm sticking with Chris." Heavy silence. One man cleared his throat. "With all due respect, CEO Hale, this relationship is damaging our brand. Investors are concerned." "Then they can leave," she said firmly. Every head turned. "I believe in second chances. I believe in people growing beyond their pasts. And if this company does not share that belief, then this company does not reflect me." They knew she meant it. The board backed down. She walked out with her head held high. That afternoon, Clarissa scheduled a press conference. Cameras flashed wildly as she stepped up to the microphone. She took a deep breath. "My name is Clarissa Hale. I stand here today to say something simple." Reporters leaned forward. "I believe in forgiveness. Believe in growth. I believe in second chances." He paused, heart pounding. "And I love Chris. I am proud of him. Proud of the man he is today." The room exploded. But Clarissa didn't care. She walked off the stage, strong and certain. Chris was home, exhausted, eyes swollen from sleepless nights. The TV was on in the background. He wasn't watching it. Until he heard a voice. He froze. Turned up the volume. There she was, saying she loved him. Saying she believed in him. Saying she was proud of him. His heart stopped. Then it raced. Then it overflowed. He grabbed his keys, ran to his car, and drove faster than he ever had in his life. Outside her company building, Clarissa stepped through the large glass doors. And there he was, standing in the cold, eyes wet, breathing hard. When she saw him, her lips parted, her breath catching. "Chris." He didn't say anything. He walked to her. She ran to him. They collided in a tight, emotional embrace, the kind that feels like coming home after a lifetime away. She whispered against his shoulder. "I missed you." He held her tighter. "I'm done with secrets," he whispered back. "I'll never lie to you again." She pulled back, cupping his face. "I don't need perfect," she said softly. "I just need truth." And then, finally, their lips met in a long, tender kiss that didn't need passion to feel powerful. Just love. Just belonging. Just two broken hearts choosing each other. Absolutely. The morning after the reunion, Chris woke up with a clarity he hadn't felt in years. The chaos of his past, the shadow of his old life, the endless struggles, all of it seemed lighter now. He walked into the kitchen and made coffee, just like he had once done for Clarissa after their first night together. Every movement was calm, intentional. Every thought focused on the life he wanted to build, now that fear and secrecy no longer controlled him. Clarissa had texted that morning. "I'll see you tonight. We start fresh." He smiled. Yes, fresh, honest, and true. That evening, they met at a quiet, elegant bistro. Candles flickered on the tables. Soft jazz played in the background. No cameras. No prying eyes. No expectations beyond the two of them being together. Chris reached for Clarissa's hand, and she didn't hesitate to let him hold it. Her smile was shy, warm, and honest, a reflection of the trust slowly blooming between them. They talked for hours. About their dreams, their fears, the past that had shaped them, and the future they wanted to create together. "You know," Clarissa said softly, laughing at a private joke, "I didn't expect to meet someone who could listen to me without judgment." Chris smiled. "Most people aren't worth your time, but I am." She rolled her eyes playfully. "And here I thought billionaires only met liars and opportunists." He chuckled. "I'm neither. Just a man who finally gets a second chance to do things right." They laughed together, a sound that felt like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. Weeks later, Chris opened his health and wellness firm. It wasn't just a business. It was a dream he had carried since childhood. Clarissa was by his side, offering support, advice, and her own business expertise. Her confidence in him gave him strength. Together they built a company that focused not just on profit, but on healing, community, and giving back. Every patient, every client, was treated with the same care Chris had always given his mother. Chris and Clarissa traveled together. Ibiza for sunsets over the sea, Manhattan for quiet walks in the park, Aspen for snow-filled cabins. Every trip strengthened their bond. Every shared laugh, every gentle touch, every quiet moment reminded them why they had chosen each other despite the world's judgment. Chris's mother remained a guiding light, sharing in their joy and offering wisdom from her own hard-won experiences. She adored Clarissa, seeing in her the kind of love her son deserved. Marissa's scandal eventually faded. The tabloids, hungry for drama, had little left to report. Clarissa's public declaration of love had silenced gossip, but more importantly, it had silenced fear. Chris no longer hid his past, and Clarissa no longer hid her heart. Together they faced the world openly, and the world eventually began to respect them. Clarissa's decision to publicly support Chris sent ripples through her company. Some board members left. Some investors initially panicked. But her courage and integrity won out. She announced at the next company meeting, "I believe in second chances. I believe in honesty and integrity. Chris is a man of character, of dedication, and of heart. I choose him, and if anyone cannot support that, then this is not the place for them." The company stabilized, stock rebounded, and employees admired her bravery. One evening, a gala brought them together with the city's elite. Photographers snapped photos, but this time it didn't matter. They walked together, hand in hand. Confident, secure, and unashamed of the love they shared. Chris whispered, "I never thought I'd get here." Clarissa squeezed his hand. "You did. We did." And in that simple truth they found victory. Not in money, not in titles, but in each other. After the gala, they returned to their home, quiet and intimate. Chris held Clarissa close. "I promise," he whispered. "No more secrets. No more hiding. Just us. Always." Clarissa smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. "And I promise," she said softly, "to trust, to love, and to fight for us. No matter what comes next." Their lips met in a kiss that was tender, deep, and filled with the weight of everything they had endured. It wasn't about passion alone. It was about safety, trust, and belonging. For the first time in years, both felt completely at home. Months passed. Chris's firm flourished. Clarissa's company thrived. They built a life filled with love, trust, and shared dreams. Their friends noticed a glow in both of them. A joy rooted not in wealth or fame, but in honesty, forgiveness, and the courage to love openly. Chris's mother often visited, proud of the man her son had become and the woman who loved him without fear. And together, Chris and Clarissa became a symbol. Love doesn't erase the past, but it gives hope for the future. And it proves that second chances can change everything. Some love stories begin in chaos, some begin in pain. But love, real love, is always about choosing someone every day. Chris and Clarissa faced lies, betrayal, scandal, and fear. But they chose each other anyway. And if there's one lesson from their story, it's this. Love is a risk, yes, but it is always worth taking. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories about love, courage, and second chances.